Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. Happy Monday morning to all of you guys out there, and happy Mother's Day, day late, but I hope you had a good weekend out there, everybody. Well, I made a video last week regarding Maddie's hard launch with her new boyfriend of 5 months, and well, it didn't go over too well with some in the community. Not necessarily my video, although I always lose a follower. Whenever I make a video about Maddie, I lose 10 followers. But then I gain 15, and I'm not here to criticize her other than, you know, she was on the show, and we're just going to talk about what people are so angry about. Do me a favor, follow me on Instagram at DNeals, and also Patreon. We'll have a live stream today at 10 a.m. Patreon.com/Dave Neal for behind-the-scenes membership-only content, and we'll get into that right now. So Cassidy, who's a relatively small figure in the Bachelor universe with, you know, a dozen or so thousand Instagram followers, came for the big Maddie. Maddie's got 1.7 million. She's big. If we were to relate them to Christian sort of churches, Maddie's a mega church, and Cassidy's like an up and coming person speaking her truth, and a couple people are listening. And that's no offense to Cassidy. If Cassidy goes on Bachelor in Paradise and keeps building her following, you know, maybe she could compete with that. But anyway, the point being is that this photo was deleted by Maddie's new boyfriend after receiving a lot of criticism. I don't know if they're on a mission trip or what, but they're two white people kneeling down, holding a couple kids. I don't know where they're from, so I don't know where the photo's from. The photo got deleted. But I'll share with you some comments from people, and we'll look at the chance that there's some sort of productive conversation that can happen without shaming people. It's a Monday morning. We're not here to shame. But anyway, Cassidy says, legit my face seeing all the appropriative language in their comment, in their captions, accompanied with that slide in the photos. So real interesting getting a hard call out from another member of usually, you know, commenters will call things out, but this is someone being like, no, this is messed up. All right, so we'll get into all of that right now, and I'll play for you the video that I had I think on Friday where the photo is that's now deleted. So this was posted with the blue hearts right here by Latina Rebels, the Instagram account, with the caption, imagine making your relationship public on Instagram where you talk about what a great heart your partner has, and this pic is in there. White Christians need to be stopped. Children of color aren't props. Black children aren't props. And then they tagged Maddie Prewett and Grant Trout. Puke emoji, puke emoji, puke emoji. This is virtue signaling, and it's so obvious. And then other people have commented, everything about their lives is so white bread. And then there are a few random pics like this, performative Christianity at its best. And I guess that's the question people ask is it performative? And also, do these mission trips, I'm assuming that's what it is, benefit Maddie and Grant more than it benefits the actual people they're visiting? Now, I'm not sure. We're going to look into it. But obviously, this photo is deleted, so and then he made his Instagram private, and we're not here to really dive into the Instagrams of people that are dating people that were in Bachelor Nation. It gets a little far down the human centipede, as you know, so it's with all love. He could be a great guy. He looks like he's got a nice smile. I'm sure he's a good guy. He's got the, you know, the Christian comb over. I'm sure he's a good guy, and you can't fault him for growing up in the privilege he has grown up in. His dad is a billionaire and all that. So anyway, But Cassidy posting this is just gold, because she's like, what? She had the same response a lot of people had that were like, what? Because you had essentially in the original video, you had or the original tag, you had them just using weird terminology. They were using like Southern hood slang to describe each other, and Drizzy Drake. It was just kind of just like, huh? You know, like, again, not to criticize, but a lot of people were just like, what is this? So the comments were brutal on their page. And here's what I said when my first response to seeing this photo. Oh yeah, so they apparently went to a place to maybe convert people to Christianity. Not really sure how that's going or how that's working, but the kid on the right's not looking like they really care too much. They're like, can I just get a juice box? What are we doing? You know what I mean? there's nothing like a good juice
Okay,
spot.
you get the point.
So anyway, read some of the comments of Cassidy calling them out. Cassidy seems cool as hell. I don't care if she's pandering. She's bold enough to call this out when she might actually meet or interact with Maddie. The white savior mission trips, volunteerism, wealthy and white Christian folks using poor, disadvantaged children as a photo op and talking forever about how it changed my life rubs me the wrong way a tiny bit. It feels dehumanizing. Children are not props, and it's weird to other them in that way. Not trying to nitpick, just I'm a white Christian, and these people need me to bring them to Jesus for their lives to have any meaning is forever uncomfortable. Now, look, someone could probably call me out. I've lived my adult life in minority communities, in the outskirts of Boston. I've lived in Brooklyn, in what's considered Hamilton Heights, which could also be called Harlem, which is a Dominican population above the Upper West Side in Manhattan, and then in East LA, which is probably the highest Mexican-American population in the United States. So I've lived in all these different communities, but then again, I'm not paying to go visit them to take photos with. I've actually lived in these communities and have had the chance to rub elbows with people of all different races. And again, that's not to pat myself on the back, not at all. I'm learning new things every day, and I've probably stepped in it, especially these are, you don't know what you don't know is what's important. But the problem is that there's plenty of churches that will go on these trips, and then they'll come back saying, look, these are the good things we're doing. They'll raise money for it while they're not, while they're, and again, this is more of a mega church issue, which I think most people can have a beef with a mega church. I'm not saying, I don't know what church Maddie's a part of, but you see these like jet setting pastors being like, we're doing all good. And then you see these photos and you just feels like they're selling these ideas like we're saving others, but it's like, are you really? We'll get into that in a second. I know I always get shit when I sort of, post these types of things because people, we see things differently. So Brittany said on my last video, he called her his shawty, using hood slang when you're not from there. And in fact, the son of a billionaire is so cringe. I was prepared to this cute Christian mingle couple, but now it's a side eye. This cute Christian mingle couple. How funny is that? So pretty much people agreed on that it's pretty yucky. And then not that money is everything, and there are pressures with being that rich and having to live up to your family name, but what's your low besides family members getting sick or dying? So someone basically saying like, what have you struggled with in life? And that, that's the curse of wealth, really, is that your biggest problem is going to be lack of ever having real adversity. Not saying he doesn't have that. Maybe I don't know. Maybe he didn't grow up rich. I don't know. It seems like they did though. The father bought them basketball teams when they were kids, and it's a whole thing. Last video, you can go check it out. I said Jesus some more. This is why so many are turning against fundamental Christianity. She should have never went on the show. She never wanted Peter. That was so obvious. I mean, by all means, whatever she's doing with her platform, I think for the most part she's trying to do good with it. But it is what it is, I guess is what they say. Here they are at the Kentucky Derby. Maddie's boyfriend's of 5 months and a couple days. His father owns a breeding company. I don't know too much about, I'm not really big into horse racing, although my fiance is from Kentucky, but they were there at Churchill Downs for the running of the horses. Actually dressed very much like his mom. Do we have a photo of his mom here? Maybe not. There she is. So that's Grant's mom or that's more stepmom energy, but I'm assuming they're still together. Anyway, point being is like mother, like daughter-in-law. So there they are, looking good. Their horse. So they took a photo. Again, we're diving deep into it. So here they are, posting some photos. This was them. I don't know where they are, but this is Promises Fulfilled. So I had to look into Promises Fulfilled. I was like, is this the horse that won? No, this is a horse that they retired that is owned by Windstar Farm, which is the farm that Grant's dad owns. You're rich when you just own farms, and you're like, whose farm's that? Oh, that's Daddy's farm. Versus growing up on a farm. It's a completely different life. But either way, they're looking cute. They look cute, adorable. She's got that, that relationship glow, or it's a spray tan. I'm not really sure. Looking good, shawty. And let's see here. So there's Grant. But so he deleted the photo. So I don't know. Maybe they're learning a little bit to like understand if I'm sure it's a crash course he has to understand. The guy goes from anonymity to all of a sudden, you know, a hard launch with someone who's in a very conscious Bachelor Nation. Bachelor Nation is very conscious when it comes to looking at relationships and dissecting them and this and that. But do they have a point? Is white savior complex hurtful or harmful? Yes, I sort of liken someone who's engaged in white saviorism to a person who rushes into the emergency room wanting to help, but if they don't have training as a nurse or a doctor, they may actually end up doing more harm than good. But how can someone who wants to help actually wind up doing more harm than good? By only putting a Band-Aid on the problem. The Band-Aid will eventually come off, revealing the deeper barriers that still exist. It's essentially a form of blindness. It's not going to allow you to perceive what is in front of you accurately. And if you can't see it accurately, then you can't be of really profound use in solving the problem. The person who, wrong button there. The person who is trying to render aid may not mean any harm, which I'm assuming they didn't. But white saviorism perpetuates white supremacy as the system by which we organize our society. Physicians typically tend to see the patient as an individual person presenting a specific illness or symptom, and they don't see the larger issue like living in poverty and living in places with high crime rate. These social factors impact people's health and well-being, and if healthcare providers want to treat people holistically for them to be healthy over a long period of time, you can not only treat the symptom that they are presenting. Okay, so that's more about healthcare white saviorism. How to avoid white savior complex. White people who want to help people in communities of color first need to take a back seat. Follow the lead of the people of color in the space that you are entering. You need to be willing to not be at the center of the work of the solution and to follow the advice, expertise, and request of the people who are closest to the pain and the problem. So look, they say if you see other people or an organization engaging in white saviorism, call them out, but then call them back in. If you have an understanding of what white saviorism is, then you are in a position to see it and to think about it. And hopefully if you're working to avoid it, you're also in a position to articulate what the harm of it is, how it can be avoided, and how much more impactful whatever the work the person or organization is trying to do will be if white saviorism wasn't at play. So I guess it all comes down to the idea of help people, but don't, maybe don't have that be don't promote the work that you're doing in a way that gives yourself a pat on the back. I think that's what we could say, because these mission trips often fail to alleviate poverty. In most cases, we have good intentions and want to be helpful, but what we don't realize is the following. Poverty is complex. The poor are not helpless. We are not all that helpful. A better way, examples of health service and ministry. I don't know. So, you know, the more you look into it, the more you realize, look, what can you do other than call out when people are kind of, it's not nitpicking by Cassidy or by people that are calling it out. It's just saying like, look, you're promoting your relationship and you're doing that with this virtue signaling image. Let me know what you guys think, because I'm torn on this, where I believe that it does look bad and cringy and all those things, and at the same time I go, all right, like where's the love that we're trying to do? You know what I mean? Like, is calling it out a good thing? I think to an extent it is. No one's like trying to cancel anybody. They're just saying, hey, that photo you're posting, wow, what are you thinking? You know what I mean? So I'm all about calling out. Obviously, you know, you don't need to be like doxing his horse ranch. You know, all those types of things don't need to be happening, and they're not. It's just like, this is the news for a Monday, folks. We're gonna have so much other content coming your way, and I've got, let's see here, a stand-up show this Thursday if you're in California. I've got people traveling from as far as 2 hours south and 2 hours north to come to the show, which puts a lot of pressure on me, but I know it's gonna be fun. Dave, Neal, and Friends, featuring LA's best comedians. I've got a few very funny friends on the show with me, and we're gonna be doing some good time, and it's in Burbank, California. And it's going to be a very small and intimate crowd. I think we'll be able to sell it out. We're pretty close. So anyway, check that show out. And then also tomorrow night, I got a rooftop show in Hollywood and then another show near LAX. So go to my Instagram at @dneals to check that content out. And let me know what you think of this. Keep it kind in the comment section. We're not here to shame or blast people. We're just having a conversation. And clearly the photo was deleted, so maybe it's worth having. All right, we'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Patreon live stream at 10 a.m. Bye, everyone.